The beginning starts. A girl shows Leo climbing a mountain without any support. He often used to do this. Leo was climbing up using his fingers and feet. It is revealed that he is quite a big businessman. And now suddenly with him, it's unclear what happens. He falls from the mountain, and due to the great height, he dies on the spot. The next day, his funeral is held, meaning he was being buried. Here we are shown Leo's family, including his twin brother, who is just like him. His mother was also there. A police officer was taking pictures because he wanted to solve the case. Everyone believed that Leo was murdered, not that it was an accident. After this, we see attractive Nico, who actually comes to meet Alice's wife, who tells Nick that she called him here because her husband's brother was murdered, and she is giving him the task to find out who is behind the murder. And yes, keep this matter between us. I will pay you double. Don't tell anyone about this. So now he goes to do this job as well. She takes him to a house that was quite far from their home and says that he has to stay in this house as long as he is working on this case. No one will be able to see him. After which, she leaves. We were also able to learn about it. He had a family whom he leaves behind to go to the police station. By giving some money to an officer, he looks at the pictures of the deceased Leo and the place where Leo had fallen. He also looks at his X-ray, which revealed that Leo's fingers were broken. Nick also learns that a police officer has been assigned to look into this case, so he immediately approaches him and says that he is from the insurance company and needs to discuss some matters about Leo himself. To this, the police officer says that he has also looked into the case, and as far as he believes, it wasn't a murder, but rather an accident where he fell and died. And anyway, the case has been closed now, so there's no need to reopen it. Nick said, "All right, you've investigated it. I want to talk about it." "Yes, I promise. I won't take much of your time," to which the police officer got angry and clearly refused, saying that he cannot reopen the case. Moreover, if you are from the insurance company, you should go to his family because you can get the information from there. It would be a favor to me. Or don't waste my time. How can it not be reopened? That's why Nick had to go again. But he gives his card to the officer and leaves from there. From here, Nick went straight to the seaside where the wealthy family was on a rather large ship. Here, Nick also sees Leo's twin brother, Elias, and his wife, who had given him this task. Now Elias takes the speedboat to the shore and drives away. Then Nick starts following him. Elias arrives at a place where he starts climbing a mountain, just like his brother used to do. This is actually a dangerous, crazy, show, that people often engage in, just to fulfill their passion. Now he approaches Elias and starts talking to him. He says that he came from America. "Actually, your company took a lot of loans from our American company, which is why I want to talk to you." To which he agrees. They both arrive at a coffee shop, and their conversation begins. He talks about himself. "I am very sad about him. When he died, my wife came and told me. I was sleeping. Although we brothers were very different, I loved my brother a lot." Here we also see that the policeman was sitting in his car, secretly listening to and recording their conversation, and as he finishes his talk, he leaves, having been noticed by the policeman. He came over and said, "You are secretly listening to our conversations. If you want, you can work with me on this case." The police officer says, "First, I would like to know who you really are. Because when you came to me, you said you were from the insurance company, and now together you are saying something else, that you are from America. Who exactly are you?" He says, "It's not important to know who I am, but it's important to solve this case because it's crucial to determine whether Leo's death was a murder or an accident. And I will prove it," says the officer. "All right, I will also support you in solving this case." After that, he plays the recording for the officer, which he made by recording Nick and Key's conversation. Upon listening carefully to the recording, Nick learns a lot of things and also notices that he was speaking hesitantly. The next day, she came to meet and said, "I had told you to stay away from my family, so why did you talk to my husband without my permission? If he found out, he would have killed me immediately." Neku says, "All right, if you know something, then tell me. This way, it will help me with my case. You tell me whether you met her, or if it was just like that." She says, It was just like that. He was a very nice guy, worked at a bar, for some time, and studied in college. Even at that time, he was quite wealthy. Although he used to be a student then. Then he asked to be friends with me. I was surprised. Why is such a wealthy businessman asking to be friends with a girl like me who works in a bar? Then she tells Nick that she will take him to a place where he fell so that he might find some clue. After that, Nick goes to find out more about everything. Where the two brothers had a fight, he met the owner of the bar. He says, I have come to ask you about Leo so that it might help solve his murder case, because the last time the two brothers fought, it was over this matter. So, tell me, who started the fight first? And what was it about? To which the bartender says, look, I told you my bar is closed, and I never mentioned your name. Then the bartender explains that yes, some poor guy was blamed, and now you have to prove this. That would be a good thing. After that, it's the next day on at the place, where Leo fell to his death. She explains that it's in the middle of the island, so no one comes here, and he starts noting everything all in his diary. Then they said, you haven't finished your story, so you can tell me openly. I used to work, so I didn't know that Neo had a twin brother, but his brother knew about me. One day, he messaged me from Leo's number saying that it's him, and that he would come to my house to study tonight. Hearing this, I was quite happy that an affluent boy was coming to my house, but the truth is that it wasn't him. He came very close to me. I thought that since it's Leo, I would spend time with him. And for a few days, we were together. Then I also started attending their family functions. But when the real Leo saw this, he felt quite bad. It's beautiful. I want to talk to the mother of those two brothers, because by observing her demeanor, I will be able to guess what the real matter is. She says that at some places where our family party is held, you cannot come because there is a lot of security. Then Nick says, just somehow take me to the ship. The rest of the work is mine, and for which Lockman goes. As night falls, he arrives at the ship where many people had come for the party. He sees the whole family and now just needs to talk to the mother. So when she was alone, Nick went to her and said, I am sorry for your son's death. And as soon as she hears this, she understands that he is the detective. So she says, stay away from my family. Just then Nick sees him. He raises his hand at him and says, I told you to stay away from my family, Nino and daughter Kale. Now it's best for you to leave from here. So he has to go. He goes to a bar, and drinks a lot of alcohol. He was very upset remembering something. Then the officer came and told Nick that people have found out. And because I'm helping you with some cases, people are telling me to close this case. So Nick said that maybe it's better for you to stay away from me, after which he remembers his past and feels that his wife also betrayed him. She used to talk to another guy about Nick leaving, with whom she was having an affair. However, Nick had also found out about this, which made him very angry, but he couldn't do anything about it even if he wanted to, and now Nick goes to a bar where he had previously asked some questions. He noticed that this matter had stopped, after which he started following a car, and at that time, the officer was also following Nick. Elias goes inside, starts watching secretly, but then S's goons spot him. They start beating Nick, warning him not to be seen here again or else the consequences will be very bad. Now seeing this, the officer quickly came here and helps Nick, rescuing him from the goons, then drops him at his home. The next day, Nick meets someone who tells him to stay away, saying that when you get close to him, he will only hurt you. Nick said, I am not afraid of such tactics. I will be happy to solve this case somehow. Then he calls the officer and tells him today that you can support me without fear, because I have been given the task of solving this case, and now we have to complete this mission somehow. So, both of them gather information about all the boats that were in the session on the day the two died. They found out about a boat that hadn't caught a single fish for a few days, so he went out, to find it, but he couldn't find it, anywhere. Then the officer tells him that the boat is going to arrive at a port at night, so we will see it there at that time. Therefore, as night falls, they reach the port where the boat was brought. He quickly went inside the boat to look for any clues, while the officer stayed outside to keep watch. And then a thug from the area arrived and shot the officer, hitting him with a bullet. He quickly came out, took the officer's gun, and shot some of the thugs, killing them. By the time he returned, the officer had already died. Nick was very saddened by his death. He thought that his death was because of him, and now Nick had to do this work alone, so he went to the peak on the other side where the accident had occurred. From here, he discovered some things that led him to search on the internet, and the information he found left him quite surprised, which also made him happy because he had identified the killer. She would call at night, saying, "Anna, send me in. I need to come inside the house, ipodas, because I have found out who the killer is, and it's your husband. I also have evidence against him, and he will be taken into police custody." That's exactly what she does. Just as she sent the guards, he comes inside the house through the back door and goes to the place where Alice was. He then tells her again, "I told you not to come to my house, yet you came again. It seems you are not afraid. I will take your life. In fact, wait, I will call the police right now." Alice says, "There's no need for that because I have already called the police and they are coming to arrest you. I have the evidence. You killed your own brother, after which everything will be revealed." He says that when I first met you, I told you that I came from America and that your company had taken a loan from our American company. But when I investigated, I found out that you never took any loan from an American company. Rather, all your debt comes from the bank. This clearly means that you know nothing about your company because the real fact is that you are not him, but you are Leo. You killed him yourself so that you could take his place and run this company. And now Leo's secret is out in the open, and their mother was very saddened to learn that one of her sons was killed and the other committed this act. You knew that your brother went near the mountains every day, so that morning you climbed to the top of a mountain, and as he was climbing, you pushed him, leading to his death from the fall. You did all this cunningly, then you took his ring, and the world continued to think you were him. You both looked exactly alike, so it was difficult for everyone to tell you apart. Knowing all this made people angry as well. She tells Leo that it had been a long time. You were the one who used to have strange conversations with me, which he never did. So upon learning this, their mother became angry. She throws him out of the house and shoots her son as well, and today Leo also dies. At night, the police come and arrest their mother. He is also preparing to leave because he had finally solved the case. While he was sitting, he began to recall the conversations he had with him. Thinking about them, Nick realizes a new story that had been hidden from him until now, and he is quite surprised. He quickly gets off and goes straight to Penelope. And finally, Nick says to her, "I have figured it out. You were behind all of this. You orchestrated the real Alice's death. You were married to him, but you wanted to leave him because he was forcing himself on you. That's why you planned with his brother Leo to get him out of the way. In executing this plan, Leo killed S, and yet you still weren't free, because he started treating you the same way, didn't he? And he was now living with you, from whom you wanted to escape. You deliberately assigned me this case because you knew about my situation, that my wife was cheating on me and wanted to leave. You had all my information even before hiring me. You didn't think that I would solve this case, which would result in Leo going to jail and you being freed from all of this." She started crying, saying, yes, it's all true, but I didn't know that they could also shoot his mom. It wasn't my intention. I did everything for my freedom so that I could escape from all this. I didn't want it. Because they used me for their own purposes. No one ever truly loved me. And you understand this well, don't you? You also lost your love, your wife, which made us realize, that my wife was cheating on me. She thought of being with someone else, and I thought of killing my wife and daughter. But when he saw his daughter, he couldn't do it, and he left the house. Then, as he was about to leave, she said to him that you have truly helped me a lot, and you are a very good person, not a bad one. You could never harm anyone. Even though your wife did everything, you still didn't harm her. That's why I hired you, so you could understand what was in my heart. After saying this, she drops him off at the airport, and he leaves from there. Then he calls his daughter and says, "My dear, my daughter, I am coming back," which helps us understand that Nick decided to live with his wife again and forgave her. He didn't want to lose her at any cost because this case had changed his life and his way of thinking, so now he would love his wife so much that she wouldn't betray him. And with this, the story, this film, ends here.